13.8 billion years ago, the universe was created. In May 2012, Xbox 360 Minecraft Edition was released. On a warm spring day, a world was created. A world of war, deception, betrayal, and glory. A world of friends, alliances, villains, and honor. A world of... basically my friends and I started a Minecraft world in 2012, which would go on to be one of the greatest stories I'll ever be able to tell, probably in my whole life. Now, back in the good old days, I didn't have a PC. Well, a good one. Not much has changed. I think I was still running like Windows XP back then at the time. Turns out, none of my friends had a good working PC either, so we had to resort to playing Minecraft on the Xbox 360. Yeah, console Minecraft. Now, back then, there weren't realms in Minecraft. There was no servers of any kind. You kind of just had to have one person host a game session, and everyone else join, and when that one person closes the game, well, you gotta wait for the next time for that person to be on if you want to play on that world again. Since I had zero life at the time, and still don't, and all my friends had just left university at the time of my life, I decided I would be the one to host the world. Basically, I would just have to leave my Xbox on a lot, whether I was playing or not, just so all my friends could play when they wanted to play. Now, let me tell you, some of the nights of leaving my Xbox 360 on all night had it sounding like... So our story begins. The world of Everworld had 4 major kingdoms. The Kingdom of Mace, who hailed from the mountains and claimed the most amount of territory, who was ruled over by my cousin, King Kevin. The Kingdom of Catharos, the most populated and fastest growing kingdom, ruled over by King Cody. And of course, the island kingdom of Silverant, who were known for being the most handsome, cool, sexy, and intelligent people in the entire world of Everworld. Also ruled over by King Danny, me, so absolutely like no bias there at all. Don't worry about that. And when I say kingdoms, it's very overdramatic and a gross exaggeration. I mean, there's typically only like one of my buds per kingdom that would make up the entire population of that kingdom was like one person. Except for the Kingdom of Catharos. Now, the Kingdom of Catharos was the only exception because they actually had 2 people, making it twice as populated as any other kingdom. It was ruled over by my friend King Cody and my other friend, very humble servant to Catharos, Chad. Now, to start off, the world was pretty peaceful. The girls weren't fighting, and there was a cool summer breeze coming in from the sea. You picturing it? Beautiful, right? Well, throw that out the fucking window because things changed pretty fast. As I previously said, the Kingdom of Catharos had twice as many people as anyone else, which means they were growing at a much faster rate than any of our other little kingdoms, our little dinky little nations. And as a result, the other kingdoms were a little uneasy with how quickly they were expanding and growing and developing. If they were to call war on anyone, they'd have the advantage of resources and manpower. So that's when the Kingdom of Mace and Raven decided to band together and form an alliance and squash the threat of Catharos before it even began. And then they asked me, the great king of Silverant, if I wanted to join them in this alliance to destroy Catharos once and for all. To which I obviously said no. What the fuck, my dudes? I want peace in the Middle East. Seriously, the world was like 1 month old at the time. I really didn't want to go to war yet. We kind of just started. God, I hadn't even built a farm yet. The kingdoms of Mace and Raven pondered my rejection for a time. They came back with the offer saying they'd give me all of the diamonds they recovered during the sacking of Catharos. To which I obviously said, yeah, I'm a slut for diamonds. I'm poor. I like that. Please, give me money. I still kind of wanted peace, though, because again, remember, the map had like just started, and I kind of wasn't ready for open war. I thought there must be a better way to take down this threat without going full-blown open war, destruction of the map already. You see, Catharos had quite the hierarchy. At the very top, there was King Cody, and then you go a little bit all the way down here, and there was the humble servant Chad, single mother of 2. So one day, little baby Chad logs onto the Minecraft world, thinking he's gonna have a great old time with his pals, but instead he's met with us all whispering in his ear at once.
You're better than him, Chad. Kinda fucked up he profits off of all of your hard work, Chad. You suck at Halo, Chad.
And so the seed was planted, and no one knew if Chad was gonna take the bait or all, until I logged in the next time and I found Catharos in ruins and on fire. Chad had indeed rebelled against his king, treason if you will, and fled to a secret fortress he had built in the deep south. King Cody, notably displeased with this development, I guess he's not fireproof or something, retaliated by destroying Chad's secret fortress of fear. And so, with a little extra help from outside forces, the Kingdom of Catharos had unfortunately destroyed itself from the inside. It was around this time King Cody decided he had had enough of war and treason. And so, Cody decided to venture off to far-off lands, forever leaving behind the legacy of Catharos, now in ruins. I don't know, to be like an accountant or something? But some months had passed now, and Chad decided to return to the ruined kingdom of Catharos and make it his own. He was no longer humble servant Chad. He was now King Chad, of the Kingdom of High Noon. Now, the maps on Minecraft Xbox 360 Edition are, like, small. Like really, really small. Shit was tiny. It actually was not long before the borders of every single nation was, like, right on each other, and there was no more room for growth. Like, every single person touched each other in a platonic way. There was almost no land left to claim, and if you wanted to expand, you were kind of gonna have to go into someone else's land. Sexual tensions were rising. Things were getting hot. Things were heating up. It's actually like hot in here. I'm just gonna have to take this off momentarily. Wait, now I'm cold again. I would look over the Great Wall of Silveron ever so lovingly at King Chad in the Kingdom of High Noon, while Chad would be there staring at the King of Kevin. King Kevin of the Kingdom of Mace popping boners. Meanwhile, King Ryan of the Kingdom of Raven was kind of off on his own. He had chosen to build his kingdom the farthest away from anyone else, so he was the only one kind of not really having this problem. It kind of looked like Everworld's first world war was inevitable. There was also this whole, like, tiny little land dispute up north for some island between Kevin and I, but he got majorly fucked, so there's no point in bringing it up. More time had passed, and at this point, we had been on the world for about an entire real-life year. Silveron was itching to expand its borders. My very own country of Silveron was the most powerful country at this point, because we had the most resources, the most weapons, the best looks. I was itching to conquer these peasants at this point. Every single kingdom, under one leadership, mine. That was the dream, to conquer the entire map. Yeah, I woke up that day and I chose violence. I chose genocide. So I warned the other kingdoms of my plan. I gave them all some time, a couple of weeks to probably prepare, you know, for my inevitable attack. And so, on a lovely afternoon in August 2013, the war began. We all met up one last time in the UN that we had all built to discuss the rules of war, to which the rules were actually no rules. there was no rules. Just kill everyone. You know, have fun. Mom will pick us up at the end of the day, I guess. Now, I had to be strategic with which countries I tried to attack first, because they all varied in levels of strength. I decided to attack my closest neighbor and longtime annoyance, King Kevin from the Kingdom of Mace. As soon as the war started, I had built a primitive mechanism that would fire fire charges across the sea, burning down Kevin's entire kingdom. The hammer struck the Kingdom of Mace first, and the Silveron war machine was on the prowl. King Kevin, not a big fan of being burnt alive at his own home, decided to retaliate by attacking a small colony village of mine just off the coast of my mainland. He attacked the city of Tower Town, trying to burn the entire place to the ground. Unfortunate for him, I knew where he was going because Kevin is predictable as hell, and I was waiting for him there. So when King Kevin arrived, King Danny was 2 steps ahead of him. I lit him on fire, and he had to jump into a well that was in the town square to douse, to get the fire off. And then every single time he would come back out of the well, I would just light him on fire again. And he just had to keep jumping back into the well. And eventually he grew tired of this, and he just logged off forever. He never came back to the map. That was the end. King Kevin had passed away. And as a result, the Kingdom of Mace was ultimately destroyed. Now, King Ryan, being the absolute pussy that he was, decided that he wasn't going to meet me in open war. He decided to bunker down inside of his castle and force me to lay siege on his land. But alas, he was no match for the war machine of Silverant, and his entire town and kingdom and castle and himself were torched and burned to the ground. King Ryan died in his bed, murdered. Now, at this point, I had conquered the Kingdom of Mace and the Kingdom of Raven, the 2 kingdoms that surrounded the Kingdom of High Noon. All that remained was to take down King Chad, who was the strongest of all my opponents. Chad, knowing that I had just conquered the Kingdom of Raven, would probably assume I was going to attack his kingdom from the south, but instead I rode all the way back to the north and decided to attack head-on from his main gate. Now, Chad was probably the wisest out of all my opponents because he actually recruited one of his real-life friends to come online and be a soldier to help repel my attack. Honestly, I don't even remember his name. Gerald or Gary, Frank maybe. Honestly, it doesn't really matter because once I blew through Chad's main wall with TNT and breached the main city, Frank got fucked. King Chad, on the other hand, put up a good fight. He was the last free man in a world that was soon going to become mine. They called him the Messiah. Chad had actually been preparing for my attack, and he built the strongest bow known to man with all of the enchantments in the world. No, seriously, I was at risk of dying a couple times there. He was really giving me the one, too. At this point, I was scared I was overreaching. Perhaps I'd actually underestimated Chad, and I might actually lose this battle.
Except Chad made one critical error.
The dude didn't build a sword! This dude put all of his energy into building a bow that could strike down 40 gods with one shot, but he didn't think to build a stick with a pointy end of it. So, lo and behold, once I got close enough to him, there was really nothing much you could do. Even his shitty diamond armor couldn't save him. Chad had perished, and I used the remainder of my TNT arsenal to explode his entire city. By the time Chad respawned and realized he didn't even build himself a second weapon, he had no choice but to surrender. He was actually executed in his own public square with his own good bow by me. With all 3 rival kingdoms fallen, the world was mine for the taking. Everworld was finally all mine. Except there was like one problem. The world was burned. This place was sacked. There were TNT craters everywhere. Everyone was pissed. So it was decided we would build a new world. A fresh start for everyone. We decided that this entire tiny map was just one tiny little continent in the grand scheme of Everworld lore. And there were more places to be taken. Sure, I won the first war, but the Kingdom of Silverhand had only claimed one continent now. If we were going to start a new world, I'd have to do it all again. And so with that, we abandoned the first world and got ready to start on a second one. But this time, new people were joining the battle. There'd be twice as many players in the second world, and twice as much sexual tension. The second age of Everworld was about to begin, and it was going to be bigger than ever. And that's the story of the first age of Everworld. Now, we played this kingdom's game type for about 6 in real life years, and this was only year 1. There was a total of 4 worlds. So the first age had now been completed, and we're moving on to the second age. So get ready! I'm gonna make a second video. If you guys like this one, I actually make a second video talking about the second age, which is actually way more exciting than the first world. The first world was like a test dummy. The second world was where it's really at. Each world got progressively better. So if you want to hear more and you really like this, let me know. That I had fun telling this story. It's cool to reflect on these good memories. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I really hope you liked this video. It's not a video I normally do. It's a little bit of a story time with Danny Dinosaur or something like that. But yeah, I hope you like the story. It only gets better from here as we add more people to our little world and stuff. So if you want to hear more, please let me know. And of course, thank you to my patrons, as always, letting me get to do all the cool things I want to do and supporting me along the way. I love you guys. So I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Goodbye, friends. Later, nerds. Virgins.